Thank you, Mark. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the July 6th meeting of the Chatham Finance Committee. Please note that pursuant to Governor Baker's June 16, 2021 signing of an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, including the extension of his March 12, 2020 order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, this meeting of the Chatham Finance Committee is being conducted via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder, that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 508-945-4410. Again, 508-945-4410 and enter the conference ID 487-020-231 #487-020-231 or hashtag for the younger set. Or one may join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. Despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access, and we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. In accordance with town policy, the public can speak to any issue or business item on the agenda during this meeting when recognized by me, the chair. So, that said, let's have a call to order. Joanne Sprague, are you here?
Here.
Barry Madison?
Here.
Norma Avalar? Tracy Shields?
You're muted, Tracy.
Sorry, here.
All right, good. Kristen?
Here.
Thank you, John.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Grand Marshal. Tommy Doan?
Here.
Andy Young?
Here.
And the chair is present. We have a quorum. So we are just going to do a couple of end-of-year routine budget transfers, along with some minute approval. I think was circulated earlier today, the minutes from our June 1, 2022 meeting, which was a series of approvals of prior meeting minutes. So not a lot of meat on that bone. Is there a motion to adopt said minutes?
So
I'll
moved.
move that.
And a second?
Second.
All right. And any comments, questions, corrections, changes? There being none. Joanne Sprague?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Tracy? Tracy, you weren't there, so you should probably abstain. And I'm going to auto abstain Kristen as well,
Thank you.
with your forbearance. John?
Yes.
Tommy?
Yes.
Andy?
Yep.
The chair's in favor. All right. We are going to turn ourselves over to our appointing authority. Mr. Litchfield as moderator. Bill, over to you, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. In years gone by, and I know that Joanne and maybe Andy were on the committee, and maybe Stephen and John were too, but in years gone by, I visited you about once a year after town meeting to thank you for your efforts. Obviously, for the last 2 years anyway, that has not happened. But I do want to thank all of you for your service to the town, the taxpayers, the voters, and all of us who are concerned about Chatham. What you do does not necessarily make you popular. You're charged occasionally with saying no, but you pay attention to what's going on, and the voters appreciate that. I want to obviously, we've already thanked John for his service, and we're all, of course, grateful to Florence for all of her years, and we miss her. But I'm delighted that Tracy and Kristen have agreed to join the committee. As you know, and as will become apparent, they had somewhat divergent opinions on a couple of articles at last year's town meeting, but that's a good thing. And I know that some of you were unhappy with some of the outcomes of some articles in May, but the voters ultimately decide. They're in charge. It's their meeting. They do, however, look to you for guidance, and I don't keep track, but if the finance committee recommendations were not followed on, let us say, 3 out of 60 articles, that means that they were followed on 57 out of 60. And if you were baseball players, I'm not a sports fan, but your batting average would be in the 900s. And nobody has a batting average that high, but you guys do. And I simply wanted to thank you for your efforts because you start, I know that there's some parts of the year where you're not meeting for lengthy periods, although you're always paying attention. But starting in November and on through May, you spend a lot of time working on numbers, issues, personnel, articles, a great number of things that come before you, and you're involved in everything. And the voters and I thank you for that effort. So that's all I had to say. I'll let you get back to work, but I hadn't had the pleasure of meeting with you for a couple of years. You're still not having the pleasure of meeting physically with each other on every meeting, but I wanted to thank you, and I do thank you.
Well, thank you, Bill. We appreciate that. And I think I speak for everybody when saying it's our pleasure and honor to be of service to the community. And I personally am grateful for you for this assemblage of talented men and women. It's an extraordinarily committed and thoughtful group of individuals. And I'm pleased to be amongst the number.
Stephen, and one thing I should have said is that as we know, I've been doing this for a long time. I haven't counted the number of finance committee members with whom I've worked, but this is an extraordinarily diverse and talented group, and I'm really delighted to have you there, and the voters are as well. Thank you.
Good. Well, thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
All right. With that, Alex, we're going to turn it over to you, please, for year-end budget transfers under Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 33B.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, in your packet and earlier today, I finalized as best as I could the FY 2022 year-end budget transfers. And as just referenced, Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 33B allows a town to transfer from one budget to another budget with the approval of the Finance Committee and the Select Board. The Select Board will be meeting on July 12th to approve these transfers. We had scheduled this meeting first. We have the final invoices will be paid on what's known as the cleanup warrant on July 15th. So that's the last day that we can have any official business having to do with fiscal year 2022. So this year, we're looking to transfer a total of 483, wait a second, I've got the wrong memo here. 483,000. $183,055, and that is coming from two sources and going the majority into the DPW budget and a small amount into the insurance and reserve fund budget. But before I get to that, we'll talk about the reasons why some of these are over expended and why we have some money left over to be able to pay for these. So we're using the funds for the facilities budget. If you might recall, we had some vacancies in the custodial department where we only have one custodian. So we outsourced much of the custodial services, both for the seasonal restrooms and the town buildings. While we did have about $117,000 in savings on salaries, we still had expenses in emergency in excess of what was appropriated for cleaning. So exceeded the wage savings by about $300,000. Also under facilities, we had the utility prices for gas and electric were higher than budgeted for a combined total of just over $68,000. And also the line items for buildings and grounds and library maintenance were more than budgeted due to some of the HVAC contracts, electric and plumbing repairs, nothing to do with the power surge here at Town Hall, but just regular maintenance and some of the repairs that were done. So we're looking to transfer into the facilities budget $477,000. We're also looking to transfer into the snow and ice budget $5,110. which is the amount that needs to be funded through budget transfers rather than raised on the tax recap, because those items that total up to that 5,110 don't qualify for deficit spending. As much as we might like to believe that we need coffee and refreshments to keep our plow drivers going during snow events, the Department of Revenue does not consider that to be an eligible amount to deficit spend because it is not directly related to removing the snow or putting down ice melt. So we're transferring money into that. And then the motor vehicle insurance, $945. We just received an adjustment at the end of the year for motor vehicle. And that was the amount that is over, leaving $1.20 in the insurance budget line item after we transfer that money in. So again, we're transferring money from the benefits and debt budgets into the facilities, DPW budget, and the insurance budgets. And I'll go over those right now in more detail. So we want to transfer $140,000 from debt service, which is left over due to our refunding of the 2012 debt. So our interest and principal rates went down for FY 2022. So we had money left over there. And then we had money left over in the employee benefits budget, $336,055 coming from group health insurance. That was due to what is known as a premium holiday by the Cape Cod Municipal Health Group. So that's why that money is remaining. And then we had money left over in workers' compensation as we had less claims in workers' comp. So we're asking to transfer $11,800 from that budget as well. And I see some questions.
All right, John Papalardo, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So Alex, it looks like the strategy to deal with the custodial issue is to just build in this year's budget the $380,000 to cover consultants or contractors.
Yes, since we are not filling the custodial positions and we'll be outsourcing those, I think we talked about that when we presented the budget. We've increased that budget line item to take care of that, and that will be going out to bid. So we will make sure that we get the best price for the town.
Okay. And one last question, if I could.
Yeah, please.
The source of funds, I've read through the memo and I understand where the money's coming from. I guess my question is, if we didn't have this shortfall for custodial, which is the big chunk, what else could you or would you do with those funds? Like the healthcare funds, would those stay in the healthcare fund to sit there in case the health costs go up the following year? I mean, how does that work?
That doesn't happen. As of June 15th, everything, well, actually, as of June 30th, everything gets zeroed out. So so it would all close to the undesignated fund balance, which then once certified is closes as free cash. So we can't carry anything forward unless we have a bill or an invoice, or we've ordered something prior to June 30th, haven't received it yet, and we then have to encumber the funds to pay for them during FY 2023. Or if an invoice is not paid, as you've seen on some of the town meetings, we have to have prior year bill payment.
So we can't, what is that, like an enterprise fund? You couldn't have an enterprise fund for healthcare for employees?
No, it doesn't qualify for an enterprise fund.
Okay, thank you.
Barbara, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alex, I'm forgetting why it is that we decided to outsource custodial services, but do you know how much of the $300,000 excess can be attributed to the emergency cleanings? And if we saved 117 but overspent by 300, do you think that was a good decision that we made?
Again, you know, we've been trying to hire seasonal custodians for a number of years now and have not been able to hire any seasonal custodians for the restrooms. So we've outsourced that over the past several years because it just was impossible to hire a seasonal custodian. Nobody wants to clean toilets. So that's when we first outsourced that, and it was very successful. I think people thought that the toilets were cleaner. The public restrooms were, receiving more attention. Since then, as I said, we had 2 of our 3 custodians left the employment of the town. So we had 1 custodian who obviously couldn't handle the entire town buildings. So we outsourced for that with the current company that we were using. So we're kind of, that's why I said we're going to go out to bid to see if we can get a better price moving forward. Also, they came in and did extra cleanings during some of the COVID. That was qualified, did not qualify for any of the CARES Act funding or any of the federal funding under FEMA. So we had to pick that up under the budget as well.
So basically, it's a lack of our ability to attract help.
Yeah, it's, again, cleaning toilets is not the most enticing job to hire people from. I mean, the town's been very lucky. Recently, we've had some new hires, so we're hoping things are turning around. But this is happening all over the country, that it's been very difficult to hire people.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Alex.
All right, further questions for Alex? So Alex, Andy, please.
Andy.
Alex, I must have forgotten some of the municipal accounting things because I'm looking at sources and uses. As you say in your introduction, that adds up to 483,000 and change. And then you come down to the recommendation and we're talking only 336,055.
Yeah, no, I didn't update that yet. So scratch that out.
Okay.
That will be a transfer of $343,055 from benefits, $140,000
What's that number again, please, Alex?
debt. I'm sorry?
That number again, please.
$343,055 from employee benefits, $140,000 from the debt service budget.
And then the second recommendation,
Would be, hold on just a minute. Yep. $482,110 to the DPW budget and $945 to the insurance budget.
okay. So, I mean, okay, all right. Thank you. So I wasn't wrong, but it needed to be updated.
I've been working on this as I keep on getting invoices in from the
Understand.
department.
I
So
just,
Alex, just
with a
picking
month
up
off, I'd forgotten how it worked.
picking up the tail of Andy's question, you referenced the 483,055,
Right.
and yet if we look at page 3, transfer 2, section, that flips to 481,055. Is there another $2,000 floating around somewhere? Under facilities, snow and ice and insurance, that yields
Yeah.
481,055.
If you look at the, sorry, that doesn't come up. If you look at the last 4 pages
Yep, in the ledger.
on the ledger, again, this was what I was working on right up until the time I sent this out. On page 3, subtotal, 482,110
Which subtotal? Sorry.
to DPW.
Okay.
It's
Yep.
in bold. And then 140,000 from debt services and 343,055
Got
from
it.
benefits. So those are the transfers.
Okay, that's
I
helpful.
will
Thank you.
take that.
Then, seeing no other hands raised, I do have just a couple of quick questions referencing back to your cover note to this, to the selectmen. Page 2, first paragraph, the line items for buildings and ground library maintenance were more than budgeted due to HVAC, electric, and plumbing repairs. Do we have a figure for that aggregate over budget?
That is
Back in
over,
the envelope?
yeah, hold on, I have it right here. The library was over by, okay, library was over by 26,853.
Okay.
And buildings and grounds was over by 200 and some odd thousand.
Okay. Is there, now, is that just incidental repairs, kind of course of ordinary business kind of
Yeah,
repairs, or?
I printed out the details and it looked like it was all plumbing, electrical, HVAC. As I recall, there was quite a bit of HVAC repairs done at the beginning of the year. So I'd
Seems
have
like
to
it
pull the
seems like a
invoices
big number.
individually.
Relative to what we've seen historically.
Yeah, it was more than we've seen historically, which is one of the reasons why we've increased both those line items for FY 2023.
Okay, that makes sense. Good. Last question I have is, how much of the $340,000 in health savings, or I guess balance in the health account, was due to the holiday, the premium holiday?
Probably,
roughly.
I'd have to look at the bills, but I believe that it's probably the majority of it. Usually the monthly bill is over 250,000.
Okay. So a reasonably significant portion. All right, further questions for Alex? If not, I will take a motion to support the proposed year-end budget transfers, as noted in our memo.
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Please, Joanne.
Just to emphasize, Alex, is my usual question. Does any of this cause any change in the tax rate?
No, this is already approved. These are available funds that have been approved. So this does not cause change in the tax rate. I did note in the memo that we will be raising the snow and ice deficit on the tax rate, but I'll increase the local estimated receipts by the same amount, so it will have no impact.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, John, thank you. All right, is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Andy's waving his hand for an honorary second. Joanne,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yeah.
first official vote, and Kristen's as well. What say ye?
Yes.
John Papalardo,
Yes.
Tommy Doan,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes,
and the chair is in favor, 8-0.
we
Thank
might
you.
want to reassure our new members that, this was a more detailed session than perhaps we usually get into.
I was actually going to note that. I was thinking that heads might be spinning a little bit. These year-end transfers typically, as Andy says, aren't necessarily as extensive or as large as these. And I would encourage each of you not to worry too much about numbers and specifics of numbers. We take a more holistic view. We welcome bean counters, but we've got them in abundance. So it's more than beans is what counts over here. So,
You're muted.
how did that happen? Okay, election of officers. We need a clerk. We need a vice chair and a chair. Let's start with the clerk position. Is there any nominations for someone to serve as clerk of the finance committee?
Mr. Chairman,
Joanne?
I nominate Barbara Madison.
Barbara, how do you feel about that?
Well, actually, I was going to nominate Tommy Doan.
Oh, I just love it when women fight over me.
There you go. Well, if that's then I'm going to stop the nomination process right there. I'm just going to have Joanne and Barbara slug it out over Tommy. Are there other nominations, or Tommy? How do you feel about the prospect of serving as chair? It's pretty much involved as sitting in the back of a car being driven down Main Street.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Okay. So we have a motion from Barbara to nominate Tommy as clerk of the finance committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Joanne, there we go. All right.
Used already, but whatever those guys want is
No,
fine
this is
with
good. Tommy can continue to think about the two of you fighting over him. So this is good. So with that motion and a second, Joanne. In
Yes.
favor? Barbara?
Yes.
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
he's in favor of himself. That's good. Andy?
Yes.
All right, and the chair's in favor. 8-0. Welcome, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you.
All right, Tommy Doan. And then for vice chair, are there any nominations? Barbara?
I would like to nominate Joanne.
I'd like to second that nomination.
Thank you.
Joanne, how do you feel about that?
I think I would be very honored to be so chosen, Mr. Chairman.
That's terrific. I would third that nomination. Are there any other prospective nominations? Or do we have a first and a second? There being no others, Joanne,
Yes,
Barbara,
Yes, sir.
Tracy,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
and the chair's in favor. Welcome, Joanne.
thank you. My pleasure.
And lastly, we need a chair. Any nominations?
I nominate Stephen.
I second that.
I third
I
it.
heard it.
Oh, Jesus. Sorry, the annual exercise in non-creativity. Anybody else want to serve?
Unless you
Anybody
want
want?
Johnson, right? You know.
Huh? All right. Well, that's that's very kind of you. Thank you guys for your expression of support and faith in the leadership. Is there any other nominations? Okay, so we have a proposal and a second. Joanne,
Yes, definitely.
Barbara,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
John.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Tommy,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes, indeed.
and I'm going to recuse myself. I'm going to abstain.
You're modest today.
I think my mother would be pleased if I did that.
Okay.
So, okay. So we have our new slate of officers. Alex, have you got that duly recorded somewhere?
I do, and I will update the website and make sure everything's, and notify everybody else. So congratulations to the newly elected and re-elected officers.
Terrific. Well, thank you all for your willingness to participate. Is to echo the words of our moderator. Anything further we want to put up on the radar screen? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Do we have any early take on dates yet for our first things?
October budget summit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first would be the October Budget Summit. I'm not sure. We haven't, I'm still in FY 2022 right now, so.
Okay.
And Jill,
It's
I
hard
think
to
typically,
think about 2024.
yeah, typically I think Jill circulates that sometime in August.
Yeah,
Right.
so
To
usually
test a
it
couple
would be
dates.
around 18th, I would think. That's, a Tuesday, so probably sometime the 18th or the 25th. And then we'll get deep into it. I know the Community Preservation Committee has voted to make their applications due sooner rather than later. So they'll be due in November, I believe, rather than January. So looking forward to that. Might speed up some of the process.
That would be terrific. Tommy Doan, your hand is up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alex, are we going to have is there going to be any financial impact about what's been going on at Town Hall for the town?
Yes, we're going to, I'll be bringing that before the board. So it will not hit our free cash certification, but we will have to fund that sometime in the future. We're looking to get reimbursement from Eversource, as well as we've submitted all the invoices to the insurance company.
Okay, thank you.
And
And
we're
Alex,
up
sorry, Andy.
hundreds of thousands, right?
I'm sorry?
We're up into the hundreds of thousands, right?
Yes, the latest number is 200 some odd thousand.
Hmm.
$267,140.39.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
And Alex, is there any expressed interest on behalf of the select board to talk to Eversource about their pole falling over in the middle of the day on Captain Kendrick Avenue or road or street?
Wasn't it old Queen Anne or somewhere?
Yeah,
it-
exactly up in the corner
yeah.
there.
As I was driving back and forth to the annex and could see it breaking even further every single day I drove by, and Eversource was notified by the town, so I don't know
Hmm.
what has been done, but I can see if I can find out
Okay, that'd be curious.
if there's been any change.
And then for the benefit of Tracy and Kristen, I have a copy of the Finance Committee Handbook, which is published by, I think, the Massachusetts Association of Finance Committees. I can drop them off somewhere. I can leave them in the vestibule of town offices at 549 with your name on the top. But if you guys want to reach out to me after the meeting and let me know what you'd like me to do with them, they're a useful reference tool and kind of an interesting document to provide background for what the heck we're supposed to be doing here. So if you guys want to shoot me an email or give me a call, that'd be great.
Have you scheduled the test date for that, Stephen?
No, I think we'll probably be looking to do that around Labor Day weekend, sometime when Tracy won't be terribly busy. So
Thank you, Stephen.
you're welcome, Tracy. All right, if there's nothing further, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Thank you, Andy. Joanne,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Tommy,
Yes, sir.
Andy,
yes.
and the chair's in favor. All right, thank you, everybody, for a terrific year. I really look forward to working with each and all of you for FY23. But between now and October, enjoy yourselves and keep counting those beans.
Thank you. Thank you,
Oh,
Mr.
I
Chairman.
do.
All right, stay safe.